No Mary tonight? Who's running the meeting? Jared or who?
That would be myself.
You're running the meeting. Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know if Arnie was. Okay.
Well, Mr. Frank, I think we have 5.
All right, we all set?
Robin, are we all set?
We are all set to go. We are live.
All right. This evening is our monthly meeting of the Board of Adjustment. While we are having to change how we operate, we are still committed to a transparent process and encouragement of public comment during our meetings. We will be accepting public comments based on using the hand raise feature. You can raise your hand at any time and we will recognize you as we get to the public participation portion of the agenda for each case. Director of Planning, Joe Bunich, will be moderating the Zoom meeting and will be asked to provide names of those individuals that wish to speak, again, as hands are raised. I would like to call the meeting of the City of Wildwood's Board of Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Deborah Coleman, board member, Arnie Sprunger, board member, Bob Morris, board member, Jim Rubis, alternate, and myself, Jared Frank, vice chair and acting chair for tonight's meeting. The Department of Planning staff present is Joe Bunich, Director of Planning, and Robin Keefe, planner. Assistant City Attorney Sam Beffa and court reporter Courtney Talman are also present. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, December 6, 2021, and take official notice of the zoning ordinance of City of Wildwood, including Chapter 400, Article 2, authorizing and establishing the Board of Adjustment's powers and duties. Now let me explain the hearing procedure. Please be aware the information I'm about to describe is also provided on the Board of Adjustment public hearing procedure handout, which was available online prior and up to tonight's meeting. This hearing is informal in its nature. However, the meeting proceedings will be recorded by a reporter for future transcription if needed. The petitions are called in the order listed on the agenda. As the petition is called, I will ask a Department of Planning staff member to read each request into the record. Thereafter, the Department of Planning will have opening remarks and a brief slide presentation. Then the petitioner or his or her representative will be asked to state their name, address, be sworn in by the court reporter, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the nature of the requested variance and the hardship necessitating it. The board will only consider the nature and condition of the property and whether these factors mandate a variance in order to allow for its full utilization.
I turn it up a little more.
Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts of the petitioner's presentation. When the board is satisfied with the material presented by the petitioner, the chair will then ask if there's anyone present online who would like to speak in favor or opposition to the request. Each speaker will be asked to provide their name and address, be sworn in, and then state their comments. Procedurally, the petitioner may request a continuance at any time during the hearing, prior to a call for the vote, in order to bring additional documentation or information. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a further visit to the site. After the conclusion of input from all interested parties, the board will ask a staff person to provide the Department of Planning's report on this matter, if requested by any member of the board, the petitioner, or any individual that is participating online. Additionally, any other information not presented in the previous testimony but pertinent to the request will be noted at this time. Once all speakers have been heard, the chair will call for a motion to grant or deny with or without conditions, then the board will vote. At that time, the discussion relating to the petition is concluded and no further input will be permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. Four members of the board must vote in favor of the petition for it to be approved. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use, or it will expire. If the board's decision is unfavorable, the petitioner has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This appeal must be done within 30 days of the decision. Mr. Bunich, are there any questions at this time?
Mr. Chair, just give me a second.
Yep.
To those in attendance tonight or being attendees, if you have any questions regarding the items read into the record by the chair, if you'd like to use the raise hand feature, I can promote you and you could ask those questions. Otherwise, if you have no questions, we'll wait a few seconds and then we'll move on to the hearing. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I think we can go ahead.
Hearing no questions at this time, the board will proceed. Please read the first request into the record, which will be followed by initial comments by the Department of Planning and a brief slide presentation.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, members of the board, the first case tonight is BA 28-21, David Whitman, 18622 Eagle Bluff Court, Wildwood, Missouri, 63005, care of Alan Ronig, Mainline Group Architecture Incorporated, 9751 Clayton Road, Lieu, Missouri, 63124. Request an exception to the minimum yard requirements general for the purpose of constructing a new single-family dwelling and retaining wall. Approximately 50 feet of this structure exceeds 6 feet in the standard setback, with a portion up to 21 feet in height upon the property located at 18533 Wild Horse Creek Road, St. Louis County, locator number 19X610040, a tract of land in U.S. Survey 134, Section 15, Township 45 North, Range 3 East, thereby authorizing a western side yard setback distance of 15 feet in lieu of the 30-foot standard for said structure, along with a front yard setback distance of 45 feet in lieu of 50 feet, including a side yard distance of 25 feet in lieu of 30 feet for the requested residence. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban District Regulations of the City of Wildwood zoning ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 1. And Mr. Chair, with your permission, before Ms. Keefe begins her slide presentation, the Department of Planning would like to enter into the record regarding this request the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance. The file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular request, and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, any other items that are provided at tonight's public hearing, including testimony, exhibits, plats, plans, and photographs, etc. Mr. Chair, with your permission, I believe Ms. Keefe can share screen and we can begin the slide presentation.
Please do. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As just read into the record, this evening we're talking about proposed single-family dwelling and associated retaining wall. This will require adjustments to front yard and side yard setbacks. The subject property is located off of Wild Horse Creek Road in northern Wildwood, just to the west of Highway 109. The property is 1.2 acres in size. It is zoned non-urban residence district. And because the lot is 1.2 acres instead of the 3-acre minimum that is typical of that district, it is considered non-conforming due to its minimum lot area. It has 150 feet of frontage along Wild Horse Creek Road. And as discussed, or sorry, not as discussed, it is currently being utilized by a single family dwelling that was built in 1964. The lot is minimally wooded, or is primarily wooded, and its slope is relatively severe as you enter the rear yard to the north, descending 100 feet in total. And this evening, here are the plans for what is being proposed. We have the new proposed single-family dwelling in blue and the associated front porch. Then in light red, we have the existing single-family dwelling on the property. In green, we have the retaining wall, which should be noted, it does reach 21 feet in height above grade within the setback area in places. In orange, we have the side yard setback and our 50-foot front yard setback. The retaining wall, if this variance is to be granted, would be at a 15-foot side yard setback to the west. And the proposed residence would be at 25 feet from the west. They would also be requesting a 45-foot front yard setback to that front porch area. And this is a view of the residence looking north. Again, this is the existing residence on the property. And this is a view of Wild Horse Creek as you go east and as you go west. And there is a circular asphalt drive in front of the existing residence. And this is a view of the eastern side yard as you look north. And a view of the rear yard, again, looking north. This is a view of the neighbor to the east. And this is looking west, and you can actually see that neighbor from here as well. This is the rear of the structure that it currently exists on the property. This is another view to the north with this tree line being closer on the property line on this side. And this is a view to the northwest. And this is a view to the rear of the structure from the rear yard, looking southward. This is, again, a view to the west from the rear yard. And to the northeast. This is west. And here you can see the existing 2-car garage and where the driveway enters into it, looking north. This is a view of the residence across the street, looking south and west. And then this is the view looking southeast across the street. And here we have renderings of what is being proposed in its place. This is the proposed residence with a side view looking east. This is the front view looking north. The side view looking west. The aerial view looking east. Aerial view looking north. Aerial view looking west. And it should be noted that this property does have a variance history associated with it. A variance was approved in January of 2018 by Wildwood's Board of Adjustment. And with this variance, a front porch was permitted in the front yard setback at a setback of 38 feet in lieu of the 50 feet. And a 2-car garage was permitted at a side yard setback of 14 feet in lieu of 30 feet. We do have public support for the request. You should have received a letter in advance from the neighbor across the street who has reviewed the plans and supported the request. And then the neighbor to the east called me today and spoke with me on the phone. And in that conversation, he indicated that he also supported the variance and recognized the difficulties associated with the physical characteristics of the land. And with that, Director Vunich and I are here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. At this time, will the petitioner or the representative please state their name, address, relation to the property, and then be sworn in by the court reporter?
Yes, my name is Alan Rohrig. I'm a principal with Mainline Group Architecture. The address is, my business address is 9751 Clayton Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63124.
All right.
Please
Thank
raise
you.
your right. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Courtney.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rohrig. Could you please explain the nature of the request and the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance?
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to thank the board for taking this matter under consideration to start with, and also mention that Robin's been very helpful in our office to get this pulled together. And actually, Steve Vogel has been, we've met with him as well, with the owners to kind of walk through some of the issues on the property, to engage the city to make sure that the design we're coming up with suits the site and the city ordinances as best as possible. To start with, you can see, looking at the photographs, there's an existing ranch house that has a walkout condition on the property. The owner had at one point looked at possibly fixing it up and keeping it, but then realized the value of the view and the value of this property itself, and decided that they wanted to build a custom 2-story or story and a half walkout home on the site as well, because of the beautiful view and just the location. So that being said, we undertook, trying to work within the setbacks, move the home completely within all of the setbacks. And one thing that we were able to achieve, I think is good, is moving the house away from that eastern lot, getting it within that 30-foot side yard setback, and not having any retaining walls over on that side of the house that would push us outside of the ordinance. The other thing we realized we could achieve is pushing the house back away from Wild Horse Creek Road enough to where we can get the primary residence in that 50-foot line. The porch still extends forward, but we're starting to get in a game of inches where every foot we go to the north, more and more the drop is so severe, it really has quite a solid ramification on the design and our floor-to-floor heights and our footings and foundations. So trying to get a swimming pool and a little bit of usable area behind the home, so it isn't just simply a drop off right out the back door, required us to come up with a retaining wall system. We tried to keep it as minimal as possible. We need 10 feet from the pool edge to the retaining wall in order to get the geotextile fabric in to support the retaining wall. So what you're looking at with that pool area is a 20 by 40 pool, I believe, is our size, and an ample amount of space between the pool and the retaining wall to create that. So in order for us to get the plan to work correctly, we needed to get the balance of the house. That the house went over our 30-foot setback a little bit to the west, and then also, so we ended up with 25 feet there as opposed to 30. And then the wall, of course, we need to have some area to be able to walk around the residence and access the pool area without having to go down the grade and create some sort of step condition to come back up to it. There are steps down the east side that lead to the pool area, but really you want to be able to get around the house on both sides. So that's a big driver here. So what we feel is that, or at least what I feel is what we've done our utmost to try and keep the footprint of the house to where it works for the homeowner in terms of their scope and their need in terms of bedrooms, rooms, room sizes, and an ample amount of build out to support the cost of the construction on this pretty challenging site. We've reached out to the neighbor to the west in order to engage them on the process, and had not heard back from that neighbor who owns the property over there. But we, as I said, we did get support from Mr. McGowan across the street and the neighbor to the east. So we think that what we've come up with here is a very conservative approach, and very cognizant of the ordinances, and we would very much love to be able to move this design forward, and feel that this variance helps with this very constricted site.
Great. Thank you for the very thorough explanation. Appreciate it. At this time, do any board members have any questions? Want to just make sure. I've got to scroll through several pages here. I apologize. Any questions, guys?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Rubus has one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ms. Rubis.
Okay, the present structure, will that be a complete demolition?
Yes, completely torn down.
The existing, will you use parts of the existing wall, or will it be a whole brand new retaining wall?
There might be some usable wall on that very east corner, but really at this point, we don't anticipate the reuse of any existing walls on the site. If you were to look at the overlay, you would see that the main wall that's behind the existing house now is essentially in the overdig of the new structure. So I would say no, there won't be any retaining walls that are currently on site staying there.
And is the petitioner, he owns the property? Is he living there now?
Mr. Whitman is on the meeting here as well. He does own the property outright. He is not residing on that property.
Okay, and is this property going to be for his residence, or is it for sale?
No, it's for him to move into. Him and his wife are working very closely with us to basically build their, I'm going to call it a dream home, but to build their long-term residence for them and their children.
And he owned the property when there were previous variances granted?
I believe he did, yes.
Okay, and the last one is on the aerial view looking west. There looked like there was some sort of a semicircle structure on the roof line.
There's a central on the north elevation. There's a bay element that projects out. It has a very glassy wall, so you can. It's meant to bring the view, that beautiful northern view, into the room. So it's basically a great room. So what you're seeing is a fairly shallow metal roof that covers that great room that moves towards the north. You don't see that. You won't see that roof really from the street, and because of the grades, you probably won't see that roof from much of anywhere.
It looked like some sort of a turret on top of the roof.
We don't have turrets. We have two gables in the front with a shed dormer bridging them.
Okay, that's
and what you're looking at on the right side in the back is the master bedroom. Has a gable end on the north side of the house, but more towards the east side. And that central element with the chimney coming out of it is essentially, it's a pitched roof, but it's a shallower pitch with a standing seam metal roof on it and gutters around it.
all right. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Director Bunich, I'm sorry, go ahead, Deborah.
Oh, I have one question. I may have missed this part, but is the footprint of the new home pretty much the same footprint of the old home that's to be torn down? Or is it exceeding some of the boundaries more than the old home?
Well, the old home, yes, it's larger. I would say significantly
It's
larger.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not
but
the same footprint, really.
No, but the one thing that footprint of that old house is it's very, very close to the eastern property line.
Okay.
And so we're correcting that issue and getting it moved to the center of the lot.
Okay, I see. So the front setback though is close to the same as the old home. The amount of footage setback is about the same.
Now I'd say we're probably back another 3 or 4 feet from where the front of the old primary residence is, but the porch is a little closer to the road. So the
Got
main residence is pushed away from the road 50 feet. The porch
Right.
then
The
extends
porch.
back 6 feet towards the road.
I understand. Thank you.
And it's open. The porch itself is a very open structure with
Mhm.
framed columns on it. There's not a very
Oh.
heavy element.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? All right, Director Bunich, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor or opposition to the request?
Mr. Chair, we have one attendee. Mr. Powell, if you would like to speak on this matter, if you would use the raise hand feature, I will promote you to a panelist and then you can speak. Mr. Chair, I'm promoting Mr. Powell.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Powell. Can you hear us?
Oh, let me turn that. That light's horrible. I couldn't see myself. But anyway, I'm actually here for the school district's project. But I am an architect and I run into this kind of thing. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, Mr. Powell, can I, although you are involved in the next, can I go ahead and have you state your name, address, and be sworn in from the court reporter, please?
My name is Ronald W. Powell. My business address is 2027 Plaza Way, St. Charles, Missouri, 63303.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Powell. We're ready to proceed.
Sounds like this property was put together back before there were zoning requirements for the 3 acres. Otherwise, it would not be non-conforming. So, you know, I mean, it's a problem situation, especially now with the trend for the bigger houses. So, if I were a decider, I would approve it. Because it does make sense. And it looks like a beautiful plan. The architect did a nice job.
All right, thank you, Mr. Powell. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'll catch you on the next round.
Certainly appreciate your feedback. Thank you very much. Director Bunich, was there anybody else in the audience?
There are no other attendees, and so I'm going to leave Mr. Powell on the screen. I'm just going to mute him,
Okay.
and we'll go from there, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. Would anybody like the opportunity to hear an oral presentation of the department's report? Seeing there is none. Director Bunich, any final comments that the Department of Planning would like to make?
Ms. Keefe has the final comment, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The department is recommending approval on this one. We recognize the hardship associated with the physical characteristics of the lot, in particular, the substantial slope in the rear yard. And we see this as a little bit of a correction in terms of recentering the home on the lot and shifting it away from that eastern neighbor. We also note that the neighbors are approving the residents. So with that, we do suggest a condition. Landscape plan for the retaining wall was mentioned by the applicant, and we would like to see one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin. At this time, any other final comments from the board before we close the proceeding for a vote? Seeing there are none, we'll go ahead and close for a vote. Is there a motion to approve a motion to deny or a motion to approve with conditions? Go ahead, Mr. Morris. You're on vote. You're on mute there, Mr. Morris.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Is there a second?
If I may interject, Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going.
I'd just like to remind you that it is the department recommendation that we approve with conditions with a landscape plan for the retaining wall.
I'll make that motion to approve that with the extension. Is that right?
Can you, Mr. Morris, can you explain what the extension is there? Or what
With the landscaping part of it?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just kind of rephrasing that.
You have to tell me again how you approve it.
You
Read
approve
it
with
back.
Mr. Morris, do you approve with the condition that they submit a landscaping plan to the department?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
All right, Ms. Coleman, thank you very much. Ms. Coleman seconds that motion with the conditions. Ms. Coleman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Sprunger,
Yes.
Mr. Rubus,
Yes.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Congratulations. Your variance is approved with the condition that a landscaping plan is submitted to the department. Congratulations.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Keefe, are we ready to go to the next one?
Mr. Chair, I think so. Our second and final case tonight, Mr. Chair, members of the board, is BA 29-21 Rockwood R6 School District, Lafayette Senior High School, 17050 Clayton Road, Wildwood, Missouri 63011. Care of Ronald Powell, R.W. Powell Architecture LLC, 2757 Plaza Way, St. Charles, Missouri 63303. Requests an exception to the minimum yard requirements general for the purpose of replacing an existing monument sign with a new representation 9 feet in height upon the property located at 17050 Clayton Road, St. Louis County, locator number 22V210215, Ephraim Barber Estate, thereby authorizing a front yard setback distance of 15 feet in lieu of the 50-foot standard. The requested location is where the existing sign is placed. Per the requirements of Chapter 415.400 Sign Regulations General, this request was reviewed by the Architectural Review Board of the City of Wildwood on August 12, 2021. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations and Chapter 415.410 Sign Regulations for FPPSNU and all R districts of the City of Wildwood zoning ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 5. Mr. Chair, with your permission as well, the department would like to introduce into the record regarding this particular request the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance. The file that has been developed and maintained by the department regarding this particular request and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, any other items that are provided at tonight's public hearing, including the testimony, plats, plans, renderings, exhibits, and photographs, etc. Mr. Chair, with your permission, Ms. Keefe has already shared her screen and she can begin her slide presentation at your request. Thank you.
Please. Thank you, Director Vunovich. Please go ahead, Ms. Keefe. You're muted there.
Apologies. Mr. Chair and members of the board, Lafayette High School is replacing their existing monument sign with a new sign. Lafayette High School, or the subject property this evening, is located at the southeastern intersection of Highway 109 and Clayton Road. The property is owned by the Rockwood R6 School District. And as you can see, it does have frontage on both of these roads, with Highway 109 being a state maintained highway and Clayton Road being maintained by St. Louis County. The lot itself is 51 acres in size, and it has a large building on it, built in 1991, and it's since been expanded on several different occasions. And here you can see a closer up aerial of the school building and the associated athletic fields and open green space and parking lots. This is the view of the high school from the front, and this is looking southeast. And this is a look at the currently existing sign framed by these 3 pine trees here. And this would be looking, I suppose, southeast. And here I have placed the rendering of the proposed new sign next to the picture of the existing sign. And here you can see they're of a slightly different form. And this is the proposed location for the sign, which is in place of the existing sign. And here you have Clayton Road and again 109. Here we have a site plan, and in black here you have the property line. In blue we have the proposed sign. It is 15 feet from the property line. And the department has talked to the Department of Public Works, and they have identified that the site distance triangle is well away from the proposed sign location. Here we have an elevation of the proposed sign, and in orange, we have the line that shows the approximate grade, putting the sign, which is 9 feet total in height, including its footings, at just over 6 feet in height above grade. And here we have renderings of the proposed sign. And the lettering. And as Director Vunich read into the record, the sign has been reviewed by the Architectural Review Board back in August. And they have submitted their comments, recommendations, suggestions to you this evening via an attached memorandum to your report. This is a view of the existing sign from across 109 as we approach the intersection with Clayton Road. And this is looking east. And this is a view from that same location, only looking more northeast at the intersection, with Clayton being over here, 109, and over here looks like Pasiglia's has Christmas trees for sale. And this is that same intersection, only being approached from Clayton Road. And this is standing across the street near the existing sign location. And this would be looking northwest. This is looking across the street from the Lafayette High School parking lot. Here is another sign that is currently on site. This is looking north and to the west. And over here, we do have a vacant lot. And here we are in the general vicinity of the existing sign. We're looking more southward, maybe southwest. This is Highway 109 here, and we have the school over here. And then this would be looking southeast at Lafayette High School. And again, we have the existing sign location and the landscaping surrounding it. It should be noted that there has been a previous variance approved by St. Louis County in 1994 for an information sign at Lafayette High School. It's fairly common that signage in Wildwood area schools require some variances. And in fact, there was a similar variance granted at Pond Elementary School by the city in 2010 for a monument sign. And with that case, we approved, the Board of Adjustment approved a 5-foot front yard setback in lieu of 50 feet. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and Director Vunich and I are here with any questions you might have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Robin. At this time, Mr. Powell, if you don't mind stating your name, address, relation to the property, and then be sworn in by the court reporter again, please. You're muted, Mr. Powell.
Thank you.
It's every
When
time.
will that be automatic? Okay, Ronald W. Powell, architect, R.W. Powell Architecture, 2757 Plaza Way, St. Charles, Missouri, 63303. And I'm the architect for the school district.
Just a moment. Go ahead, Courtney.
Go ahead.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Powell. If you could explain the nature of the request and the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance.
Well, the hardship it would be for the school to move the sign from where it's been for an extremely long time. It's where people go to see things, and the landscaping is there. And if you were able to, if you reviewed the aerial, you'd see that it really wouldn't make sense to be anyplace else. But the strongest thing is that it's an existing condition that we're hoping that can be considered. No, I want to say thank you, Robin, for all your hard work to help me get this done to this point. It was a little bit of trouble in the beginning with contractors and things.
Well, you're very welcome, and we're excited to get you through this evening, hopefully.
Absolutely. Mr. Powell, anything else you'd like to add?
No, well, the last thing I would say, it is a really nice looking sign made out of real stone. The mason that is assigned to do the work is Martin Heck Masonry. I worked with them on a project at Missouri Botanical Garden, the historic wall from 1860s. Just a little bit of feedback. It was undermined by Tower Grove, and it was falling down. And I was on the team that deconstructed it and reconstructed it. And Martin Heck, they were the masons, and they just. So I anticipate that this is going to really be a nice looking wall when it's done. A credit to the school and the city of Wildwood.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Powell. At this time, do any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Powell? Seeing none. Director Vunich, were there any other additional members in the audience that would like to speak in favor or opposition of this request?
Mr. Chair, there are no attendees right now for this particular request, so I will make the assumption that there are no speakers. Thank you.
As would I. Seeing that there are none, Would anybody like to hear an oral presentation of the department's report? All right. At this time, does the department have any final comments?
Good, Mr. Chair. Ms. Keefe will provide the department's comments.
All right, thank you, Ms. Keefe.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The department is supporting this application this evening. It only makes sense to place the new sign where the existing sign is located. Generally, the department and the Architectural Review Board would agree that this is a nice upgrade for a worthy recipient, Lafayette High School. So the department is recommending approval this evening with the condition that they work to preserve the existing mature landscaping around the sign. And if for some reason it should die, they submit a landscaping plan to the department for review and action.
Thank you very much.
Mhm. Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Any other final comments from the board? All right, seeing that there are none, we'll go ahead and close the proceeding for a vote. Would anybody like to motion to approve, motion to deny, or approve with conditions? Go ahead, Mr. Rubus.
I make I make a motion to approve with the conditions of the landscape plan being provided if the trees suffer any damage during the construction.
Okay. Would anybody like to second that?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Sprunger will second that. Was all that wording to the department's satisfaction, Ms. Keefe? I think we've got the gist of it.
Sure.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and call a vote. Mr. Sprunger, how do you vote?
Approve with the conditions.
Okay. Mr. Rubus,
Approve with condition.
Ms. Coleman,
Approve with condition.
and Mr. Morris.
Approve with conditions.
And I as well approve with the conditions. So congratulations, Mr. Powell and Lafayette High School. We're excited to see the new sign. You're muted again. It's the Zoom theme. Mr. Powell, you're muted there.
Okay, I was just trying to say thank you, and everybody is so nice to work with. And you guys got a wonderful community. Proud of it.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. I couldn't agree with you more. All right. Anything else that we need to tackle this evening, Ms. Keefe?
I don't believe we do. I just, the department would wish everyone a happy holidays, I'm sure.
Yep,
Happy
absolutely.
holidays.
And happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays,
you.
everyone.
Well, thank you very much to Robin and Director of Units. You guys always do a wonderful job for us. Get everything together.
And Mr. Chair, to Courtney and Sam, thanks for hanging with us this year. We do appreciate it very much. And as always, you've done a great job.
Yes, absolutely. I apologize. I didn't mean to keep you guys off of that. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
And have a happy holiday season, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
You too.
See you in
Merry
the new
Christmas.
year.
With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much,
Okay.
everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.